Happy afternoon. Yes, today I'm so excited that I have Ruchira in the house in my talk show. Hi, Ruchira.
Hi, pleasure is all mine. Thank you.
Yeah, it's like you are the author of this book. Yeah. Before we start the session, I want to introduce Ruchira to all of you right now. Ruchira, she is an alumna of the University of Chicago Booth School of Business. Ruchira straddles the corporate and academic worlds. She's a leading executive coach, a young faculty at several top-tier business schools, and runs a boutique consulting firm focused on the organizational strategy solutions. Rachira has a diverse and eclectic functional background in mergers and acquisitions, organization design, culture, and leadership, coupled with 2 decades of experience in emerging markets in Asia, the Middle East, and North Africa. During her corporate career, Rachira held a leadership role in the Medtronic and also the AIG in Singapore, Qatar Telecom in Qatar, and also the Tata Consultancy Services in India. Ruchira teaches and frequently coaches the MBA students and senior executive as affiliate faculty at several top business schools. She's the author of this book that today I'm so honored to have her to talk so many great practical insights from her book right here. Coaching, the secret code to the uncommon leadership. So, Ruchira, I read this book from cover to cover. I do so many different highlights because there's so many great things that I want to remind myself and make a very slow reading. It took me like 5 months to finish reading this book because so many, I want to digest it slowly and really practically use it when I coach my coaching. So in this first chapter of this book, you already highlight one very important key is about performance vs the leadership and also the super chicken model. And I can see really that right now in this world, right, so many company, they actually promote the superstar to become in the leadership position. Yeah. That is like, can you share more with us, like why this model is like this super chicken model does not work right now, and what is the secret sauce to the great as to a great leader?
Thank you. Firstly, Joyce, thank you very much for inviting me. It's lovely. And I'm really heartened to see how you've gone through. Okay, I have the hardback, you have the paperback. How you've gone through it. This book was meant to be, they told me, my publisher, Penguin, they said, give us about 70,000 words and we'll cut it down to 50. That's what good editors do. My book not only did they not cut down anything, it's 90,000 words and 356 pages. So I am super impressed. The thing, rather than scaring people who are, who might want to read the book, is you can read the book anytime from anywhere. Hopefully you can start with the introduction and the preface, but then the chapters don't really flow they are in a sequence, but you can at any given point in time pick a chapter and hopefully it'll still add sort of value to it. So just very impressed that you took 5 months to read it, and makes me feel really fulfilled that someone's making use of all the learnings in there.
Yeah, it's so important when it comes to as I see you give us so many great examples, and the example mostly covered in the corporate world.
Yeah.
But in the world that I'm right now, I'm a nutrition coach. The thing is, like I have my coaching as well, but I can still use a lot of great tools in my coaching session. So that's why I want you to share with us is like you have this analogy that you are putting this Kung Fu Panda. I love this analogy, Kung Fu Panda. You're putting a secret ingredient is you.
Yeah.
No secret ingredient is you. Mm.
Yeah, so let's talk about two different things that you've talked about. First, the super chicken model, and then really, how do you become that uncommon leader? How do you become a better version of yourself, right? First, a lot of research currently is telling us that in the world, whether it's leaders that are running nations, Malaysia, India, Singapore, all of those, right? National leaders or leaders that run corporations, that run teams, we have a challenge. We don't have enough leadership pipeline. We don't have enough leaders who are ready. And why is that? It's not because we don't have talent, right? We have a lot of talented people. We have a lot of expertise. We have competence. It's how we are harnessing that competence. It's our approach to leadership, right? You brought out from my book the super chicken model. So I'll tell you a little bit about that. Our challenge is how we think about leadership today. We think that whether it's organizations, any kind of organizations, corporate firms, could be a yoga institute, could be a nutrition lab. We think the person who is the best performer, right, who is really doing the best job should get promoted to a leadership role. So even in sports, right? I don't know how familiar you are. The book has a lot of examples from cricket, right? If you think that you're the one person who's making the most runs, scoring the most runs, and same for, I guess, soccer or football. Hey, this person is brilliant. Let's make this person a captain of the team. Now that's where the problem lies, right? The skills or what we need to become fabulous individual players or fabulous individual performers are very different from those that we need to be fabulous team players, right? As an individual, you need a lot of focus, you need ambition, you need drive, even some amount of narcissism. But when you become a leader, that narrative changes. It's about empathy, it's about collaboration, it's about taking people along in the journey. Now, when we simply make these best performers our best leaders, right? That's a super chicken theory, right? We look for the super chickens and we promote them. But these people don't know how it is to take others along in the journey. They don't know how to collaborate because they've always been focused on it's all about me, it's about making my goals, right? So that is where the problem lies. They don't become the kind of leaders we want them to be. They've never been coached to do it better, so they don't know any better. So they continue to do what they did as individual players, right? And hence these super chickens don't morph into these perfect superstar leaders. As superstar performers are not equal to superstar leaders, and that's our problem. These people can't coach, these people can't nurture others, these people don't know how to build teams because they've never been exposed to it, because they've always been working on individual goals, on individual numbers or individual targets, and that's where our challenge is. We're not preparing enough people to become team players, right? That's the fundamental premise of the book, and how today coaching is that secret code or the link or the key that unlocks this uncommon leadership. That's what the book is about. It's about taking people along. It's about making them better than they are today. And that comes from being a good leader coach. Doesn't matter what you do. Doesn't matter if you're a freelancer. Doesn't matter if you're a gig worker, if you're a corporate leader, whether you are someone, who's setting up your own venture. Everybody can be that coach. It's really about bringing out the best in other people and making them better than they are.
Yeah, so important. When we talk about coaching, is you bring out, I remember you have this 4C plus model.
Yeah.
Which is the 4 cornerstone, which is capability, clarity, confidence, and consciousness. This is the 4. I can memorize it already. And I want to highlight this. It's like your cover of the book. You see, when I first see the cover of the book, I know that there is something like tangle, it's like a knot that is really tangling together. Right now, it's like we want to untangle these knots to smoothen it to become the manageable strings. That right after I only get to know that is the chapter of the book talking about clarity. So can you share more why clarity is so important?
Yeah, I gave my publisher, Penguin, such a hard time with the cover. They would keep bringing up ideas for the cover, and I was like, no, this is not what I want. And I tried to give them the brief, but it was such hard work. In the end, they got it right, and I'm so happy with the cover. Okay, let me show this. What is coaching? Coaching is about clarity, as you said. It's about capability. It's about confidence. It's also about really, really at the core of it, making sure that you give someone the clarity that they need to go forward. So this is a big, big knot, right? The knot is like all the thoughts in our head. So much is going on all the time. We have work pressures, we have personal challenges, family challenges, right? What do we want to do with ourselves? That all comes here. It becomes these big, big knots. Yes. When you get that coach or a leader or someone who's supporting you, who's being the sounding board, then this knot starts to unravel and untangle. So you untangle that knot for the person. Now, that's where it gets interesting. Even a good therapist can untangle. right? You can go for a therapy session and they untangle the knot. But that's not what coaching does, right? Coaching untangles, but coaching helps you go higher. Coaching makes you shine brighter. That's what it does for you.
I can see this one, shine
Yeah.
brighter.
The shining and the going, that's the bit people had a big problem with the designers, right? They would keep doing this, right? I said, no, that's not enough. You have to go higher. When you get a coach, whether the coach is in the form of someone you report to, it's a colleague, anybody, a friend, anyone who's asking you powerful questions, like not giving you answers. That's what good coaching is. That individual not just untangles the knot, not just gives you clarity, but also helps you go higher, helps you shine brighter, become even better than you are today.
The key. I love it so much because in my life or in my work, that is nothing better than I can have a better clarity what exactly I can actually go, the path, that's really, really very, very important. And one more crucial skill that you highlight in this book is about using the F words often. Yes, I love to say, okay, use the F words often. What is the F word? And it's like, we want to give a constructive feedback, that feedback. I love to receive and also give feedback, constructive feedback, because that really helped me to improve my work or in my life as an overall. It's right, but right comes to feedback. Sometimes it's like we have this, how we can make full use of this feedback when we want to give to others, but not hurting other people feeling, especially they are in our coaching session, because it's a relationship between coach and the coachee. So how we can avoid that, not to say avoid, rather than say like we want to make sure the coaching session going on in the right way. So how can we make this up?
Yeah, it's a good one. And using the F word often is a good one as well. My editor was very upset. How can you write this? I said, no, you have to make it fun for people. Don't make it a boring coaching book. So feedback, right? That's the F word here. I think feedback. So let's talk a little bit about what is feedback, right? It is you telling somebody how they performed or how they did in the past. What I try and talk about in the book is don't make it about the past. Make it about the future. Some people call it feed forward. But it's not about criticizing. It's not about saying what went brilliantly. It's about what can you do with that not so good or so good or brilliant performance. How can you help the person do it better next time? And that feedback can come in many forms, but you have to be very clear about who you're giving the feedback to, right? Someone's young, someone's just joined, is a trainee. And let's say this person hasn't done quite a good job. Will you go all out and say, hey, that was terrible? No, you don't do that. You crush the person's spirit. You never do that to anybody, rather, right? You have to be smart about how you give them that feedback. But the feedback is more about you need to give them something constructive, which means give them things that they can change and actually improve upon, right? Say that presentation, no, I thought it was good, but perhaps you could have engaged the audience better. Remember the last time when we had, Joyce over from Kuala Lumpur? Remember how you presented to her? You remember how engaged it was? You asked so many questions. Maybe next time you can do something similar. Give people instances of when they've been successful. Give them the exact moment that they did a fabulous job. If you can't find moments, think about something from their past life. Think about their strengths. Give them the confidence that they have it in them. And that if it didn't go right this time, they can find ways to do it better next time. But it's not about saying it didn't go right. It's about saying, how can you do it better? That's one. The other thing is when you give feedback to someone who's an expert, right? Someone like you know everything there is to know about nutrition and the world, and someone doesn't, let's say, agree with your philosophy, right? Then the feedback is not generic. Then the feedback has to be specific, right? You need to give someone very precise knowledge about what that person can do differently. So Joyce, remember when you were trying to help someone do a detox plan? She didn't understand the word detox. Maybe you need to explain to her what that will do for her first before you give her a plan. We need to have this feedback as specific as that, right? When you're giving feedback, let's say to a world champion, even they need feedback, right? The tennis player. You don't tell them, hey, you could do better. That doesn't help. You have to give them specific feedback. Remember how you turned your wrist in the last match? I think that's what you need to focus on. So the feedback has to be specific. It has to be targeted, and it has to be forward looking, right? I mean, don't look at the past. We have to look at the future. And as you said, it has to be constructive. You need to give people something that they can really act upon or change and improve. Otherwise, it doesn't help, right? To tell someone you did a bad job.
Yes, so important that we can see, and because when we picture the future for them, then they can start to really see what is the possibility that we can bring forward by changing something on. And then from there, improve ourselves from there. That is important. And when it comes to the last part of the book, you mentioned about one chapter, I especially love it. It's about tough love. It's really opens my eyes into saying that, okay, I'm in the right track, because sometimes I give my coaches some tough love. And I found that sometimes it's challenging. It's challenging. Tough love is, in your book, you highlight it's about setting high expectations and not allowing anything less. And it is about maximizing the performance with discipline. When people hear about discipline, they don't like it. I know that. When it comes to coaching session, so it's like, can you share with us like how that we can balance this tough and the tough love, so that we can make sure that we are helping the coachee as much as we can as a coach?
That's a great question. Okay, first let's do this. Let's define coaching, right? We're coaches in different fields, whether you're a sports coach, a nutrition coach, health coach, my case, a business coach, right? What are we all doing? What is coaching, right? Coaching really is the act of maximizing someone's current performance, but that's not it. Now, it's not just about making you good at what you're doing today. It's about maximizing the future, the potential of the individual, right? What you can do better in the future, like we talked about. So it's here, it's for now, but it's more importantly for the future, making somebody better at what they do. And you do that through a series of self-enabling, right? It's a big important word, self-enabling and non-directive conversations or interactions. So first you let people do what they're best at, but you don't tell them what to do, right? You ask them powerful questions, but help them find the answer, not give them the answer. Ask, not tell is what we say in coaching, right? So how would you do this, Joyce? How would you do this, Ruchira? That's the kind of question, right? You lead them to the path, but you don't give them the answer, right? So now, once we're sort of very clear about the fact that we are asking, not telling people what to do, how do we take this to a sort of different dimension? Different coaches can have different styles, right? Some are very soft and nurturing, and they're constantly saying, hey, don't worry about it. I'm sure you can do it better. There's a certain style. But not every coach and not every situation warrants that nurturing, soft style. Remember, what is coaching? It's about making you better than you are today. It's about tomorrow. Now, if in that instance or if certain situations will mean you can give people tough love, which means you can have high standards, you can have high expectations. You don't have to be abrasive, you don't have to be aggressive, but you have to be firm, right? When you embark on a coaching journey, it's like saying, hey, I want to lose 10 kilos, but then I go back and eat all the fried stuff in the world. If I go back, if I say, no, this is not working, Joyce, this is not working for me at all, I'm not losing any weight. But the fact is, I'm not following something that I committed to. In which case, won't you turn around and say, hey, listen, I'm not going to do this next session if you don't guarantee that you will follow a certain lifestyle that we agreed upon, right? For the corporate world. You are saying that somebody has to change behaviors. But as soon as you go out of that room with your coach, you go back to becoming the same person, shouting and yelling at other people. If you need coaching to benefit you, then you need to commit to certain goals. And when those goals are not being achieved, the coach has every right to turn around and say, hey, what's going on? What is coaching? It's holding a mirror to you. It's telling you what you're doing well, what you're not doing well. And if you truly want coaching to make you better than you are today, then you have to be prepared for some tough love. The only difference is a good coach can be tough, but also knows when to be soft. You help people become better, and you tell them, listen, I have exacting standards, I have high standards, but it's coming from a place of love. I'm doing it because I believe in you. I'm doing it because I really, really want you to shine. And so don't expect me to be kind to you or nice to you while we're doing this. I'll be there for you always, but I want you to become better than you are. You have to find the right balance, and good coaches do exactly that.
As I can see right here is more on the communication as well. The communication as a coach to the coachee, even before the coaching session starts. Let them know about what we expect in the whole session, and the I would say the mutual understanding, the communication is right there, so that they know what they should do in the whole process. Absolutely. And we as a coach, what we can do to help them to shine more.
Absolutely.
So that is so much so on, we discussed so many practical tools already, and I want to circle back to our title today is about untangling the knot. Why coaching matters more than ever right now. Can you share more with us why the coaching is like right now, especially during this uncertain time that our world is facing right now?
Coaching always mattered, but now, as you said, more than ever, the ability to take people along, the ability to be more empathetic, the ability to help people become a better version of themselves is so important, as you said. It's because we're going through such turbulent times, right? We've had now what, more than three years of completely, we've been in the throes of the worst pandemic ever, right? It just changed all our lives. It changed our social constructs. We had good days. Sometimes you felt it was all over and you all rejoiced, and again it was back to the lockdown, that was back to that. Our lives, just the way they were, have never be the same again, right? Sometimes there are mask mandates and suddenly they become no mandates. You travel, they ask for RT-PCR, sometimes it's not. Our lives are not normal. Children didn't go to school in different countries for so long, and they went to school, the schools shut. Our personal and professional work started colliding. A lot of women, especially women, right, in the workplace, had to take on a much larger proportion of the housework. Many people completely stepped out of the sort of employment race, especially women, right? It was called the she session for a reason. They were disproportionately impacted with this. Anyway, it's been a very messy, long road, and the end seems to be in sight, but we don't quite know, right? When you think it's almost there, the numbers start spiraling. At a time like this, more than ever, you need people that understand how to help you out of this cycle of depression. And you need people at the workplace, whoever you work with, whether whether you have clients as a freelancer, whether it's if you're in a large organization, it's your manager. You need them not just to tell you what to do, but they need to ask you, what's going on in your life? How are you feeling at this juncture? How can I support you? You need people who listen to you. A very important element of coaching is listening to assimilate, listening to empathize, listening to help you with support and solutions. If we don't, at this juncture, help each other out by listening, by collaborating, by being more empathetic, by giving them more clarity and confidence to do better, we truly will lose the humane part of our lives. That's what good leadership is. Doesn't matter how big your teams are or if you have no teams. A good individual can be a good leader if you can be a coach that helps others do better. Yeah. That's what we need today in this world of work from home, hybrid reality, Zoom calls. Joyce has a very lovely poem, if you haven't already read it. It says, we're not in the same boat. We're in the same storm. So the storm is the same for all of us, the COVID storm. But our boat, when we say it's the same boat, it's not true, because somebody can have a luxury liner and somebody can have a small lifeboat. You could have a canoe. Some people are literally, hanging on for life. They're almost sinking or unable to swim. And there are those that can sit on their luxury liners, because our worlds are different. Our life stages are different. Even when we do these Zoom calls in office, you can see there are people with less space, with crying babies, with dogs, and those that have all the fancy equipment and the perfect Wi-Fi. It's not an equal world. A good manager, a good leader A good colleague needs to realize that everybody's reality is different. That's why coaching is so important today. It's about making sure that you understand that not everybody's in the same place, but how can you be more inclusive? How can you take them along in the journey and help them become better than they are?
Yeah. How to be the better version of themselves. And sometimes a lot of people have this misconception that they say, do you have the intention to turn me like you? I said, no, 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 no. As a coach, I want you to be a better you, not being me. Me is me. So it's like, I want you to be a better you. So that's why I'm here to help you along. That's the journey as a coach, to help them to show up. Because as a wellness coach, I continuously remind the leaders out there that, yeah, take a great care of yourself is making like a priority in your life. So I keep reminding and reminding. This is like they somehow thinking that, you always remind me until I've done. I want to ask you, Ruchira, what is your take about this? As a leader, why taking care of ourselves is so much important? I know we want to be a better way person that can help other people to shine. And why, in fact, taking care of ourselves is so much important?
Yeah, I think it's a great one. And I loved your analogy about I'm me and you are you, right? A good leader coach is not about creating mini me's, right? Everybody needs to find their own path. And that is the trouble with coaching. I remember when I was saying ask, not tell. When you survey in organizations, when you survey managers and you ask them, hey, are you a good coach or a good coach? Everybody says, yeah, I'm great. And then you try and understand that most of them are actually pretty bad at coaching because they think they're coaching, but they're telling people what to do. They think everybody needs to be like them, right? That is my playbook, and you want people to follow that playbook. But as you said, coaching is not about making you me. You are you, and I'm me. So I think that was very, very nicely said. Okay, back to your next question. What was your question again? I love asking.
Yeah. Jason is asking, what is your take on understanding as a leader? We want to put taking care of our own
Yeah,
health,
yeah,
physically,
yeah.
mentally, as a
Absolutely.
priority.
No, absolutely. In fact, taking care of your health and also being self-aware. I think those are the two things a good leader does. So first one, what is self-awareness? It's being aware of what is it that really drives you? What is your passion? What are your strengths? What are you good at? But it's not just that. Most people know what they're good at. It's a second bit. If you are to be a leader coach that is helping other people find their path, you also need to know about yourself. What are you not so good at? What is it that you could do better? And a self aware leader is what makes a good leader, an exceptional leader, an uncommon leader, as I call it, right? And to become more self aware, one thing I always recommend is take feedback. Build an ecosystem of feedback, like Joyce and I talked about earlier, feedback.
Yes.
A good feedback loop is when everybody, regardless of their position, their level, is able to freely give feedback to each other. Doesn't matter who's senior, it doesn't matter if you're colleagues, it doesn't matter if somebody reports to you. So building an ecosystem of feedback helps you become more self-aware. So that's part one. The second is taking care of yourself, as you rightly said. If you're unhealthy, and I mean not in a physical sense, or I also mean here, if you're mentally there's a lot of pressure, things not going right, will you be in a better position to help your people become better than they are today? You need to focus on yourself. You really, really need to think about what is it that drives you. Is it the fact that you feel sluggish and tired all the time? Is it inertia? Is it that you don't? There are days when you don't want to get to work, right? You don't want to get out of bed. Imagine on days like that, if you're expected to coach somebody, what kind of coaching are you going to give them? How are you going to make them shine brighter if you feel so dull inside? So think about that. Think first, be aware of what you need, what your needs are, and what will make you propel forward, make you go higher. That's important. And the second is once you're aware of those needs, both physical, mental, and intellectual, right? Once you understand that, then really focus on that. Focus on your health, focus on your well-being, on your overall, sort of state of being present. That's what makes a good leader.
As I always say that you can't give what you don't have.
Absolutely.
It's like, I say to them, then they start to have a big eyes looking at me. Then,
Yeah. It's like your feedback, right? If you think you are always giving feedback, how will you appreciate it unless somebody gives you that feedback? So if you want to build that culture where people are receptive to feedback, that they actually act upon the feedback, then be open to it yourself. And doesn't matter how senior a leader you are, right? The best leaders will seek the feedback as well. So you can't give what you don't have, as you say.
Thank you so much, Ruchira. We have so many great insight, and I wish that we can have longer time together. But last but not least, I want to ask you the last questions is about this one. What is the joy as a leader coach? Your joy.
I think it's really about, as I keep saying, it's not about a legacy, but it's really, really about helping people find their path. You know, for me, this book it was never about commercials. Even today, when somebody like you, Joyce, will post about it, or somebody, I had a doctor from Mexico who wrote to me. I have no idea who this person is. He picked up the book on Amazon, I think, and wrote to me. He was connected to University of Chicago somehow, the medical school, and he found out that I taught there and I studied there. And he wrote me a really long letter and said how it really changed his life. And then the other day, somebody again in San Francisco, she's a coach, like a, actually not, she had a lot of physical issues with asthma, etc. But she said she read the book, and the book gave her the confidence to really focus on her challenges. And now she's coaching her son's soccer team, who's I think 13 or 14. She's posted about it.
Wow.
So I think that is my biggest joy. If we can spread a message that today it's not about command and control. It's not about telling people what to do. Our world has changed, right? The pandemic has shown us that the best ideas can come from anybody. It really is about giving everybody a voice. It's about collectively harnessing everybody's intelligence and really being the kind of leader that elevates everybody. And when you elevate people, right? And when you sort of shine the light on people, you shine bright. And I think that's my key message. And when people absorb and assimilate that message and tell me it worked, I can't think of a better or a more joyous moment for me.
Wow. I love your conclusion about your joy as being a leader coach. Thank you so much for bringing this to the world. And to those that are listening right now, yes, please, I want to show you this one share screen that you can go to get the Rachira book right here. Let me share with you. Here is this website. Please go to this website that you can buy the book and read the book, digest the book, and maybe you want to digest it by drinking it or how. Anyway, it's like you get into your hand. That's really going to be very, very helpful in your leadership journey. And definitely, you can definitely want to follow Ruchira in the LinkedIn as well. This is a LinkedIn, and you can just type in her name and you will directly see this page and connect with Rachira from here. All right. Thank you so much once again, Rachira.
Thank you, Joyce. Thank you for taking the time to do this. It was lovely.
Okay. We're going to see, and now Rachira and me would love to hear from you. Now, what is your biggest takeaway from today, our half an hour session? What is the aha moment? Yeah, you want to bring it and put it into action. Let us know in the comment section and see you in the next episode. Bye.